Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel BNB Daily Spoiler. Taylor and Deacon secret lab finally revealed.
Hope deceives Sheila after Ridge catches Taylor and Deacon making out. Ridge Forrester witnessed Hope Logan Spencer tricking Sheila Sharp while Taylor Hayes and Deacon Sharp were making out. On Friday's BNB episode, Hope was trying to find Deacon at Il Giardino when Sheila cornered her and asked her what she thought of some restaurant deals. Sheila added that Deacon and Taylor were having another late-night therapy session, and she thought it was fantastic that the doctor could continue to fit him in. Sheila emphasized her solid marriage to Deacon while Hope sat at the bar and listened. Since she and Deacon had made a till death do us part promise and believed they were in it for the long run, Sheila wanted some familial acceptance. Sheila pretended that her relationship with Deacon was unique, despite Hope's admission that she didn't know what brought them together. Given that she had assisted Deacon in treatment, Sheila assumed Taylor also spoke Deacon's language. Hope said that she had noticed some improvements in Deacon and implied that he was falling for a woman. Naturally, Sheila thought Hope was referring to her, and she was determined that no one would separate her from Deacon. Ridge was furious and perplexed at Forrester Creations as to why Taylor would fall for Deacon of all people. Hope was happy that Deacon and Taylor felt the same way, but Steffi insisted Sheila wasn't aware of it. Steffi mentioned that Taylor was concerned that she wouldn't meet someone else after Ridge, and she felt that this contributed to her mother's attachment to Deacon. Additionally, Steffi updated Ridge on the ultimatum she gave Taylor, which said that if she continued this Deacon romance, Taylor would not be allowed to see Steffi or the children. Steffi had to shield her kids from Sheila, even though she didn't want to be strict. After a while, Ridge made the decision to see Taylor and reassured Steffi that Deacon would never date her. As they continued to sneak in kisses in Taylor's office, she found it difficult to resist this magnetic draw. Additionally, Deacon stated that he had obtained Taylor's backing for his business development and was converting the former bikini bar into his restaurant. Deacon thought about how he continued to distance himself from his wife and admitted that he hadn't told Sheila the news yet. Deacon realized his marriage to Sheila was driving Hope and Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, away after he indicated that his children were terrified of her. Taylor was also aware that she might alienate her own family if she continued to date Deacon. Despite this, Deacon and Taylor ended up sharing another intense kiss, just as Ridge entered the room and slammed the door behind him. Before saying, "This is over," Ridge yelled at Deacon to remove his hands from Taylor and yelled at him about the danger. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Taylor and Deacon will have to deal with more mayhem, so tune in. Sheila's plea, Hope cornered, Taylor busted. Late-night phone calls, discreet meetings with an alienated person from the Spencer past, and gentle texts that express regret and unresolved business are all examples of Taylor's secret, which she tells herself is for the greater good. She explains that these interactions are about preventing harm and defending someone. However, secrecy leads to misunderstandings. When Hope shows over to deliver a donation of clothing, she discovers Taylor evasive and preoccupied. Hope notices a crack, but attributes it to stress. Sheila, who is currently under close observation at the psychiatric wing, or on parole, depending on casting decisions, discovers something explosive through the network of people she continues to control, a surveillance clip, an email thread, and a recorded conversation that, when combined, paints Taylor in a far worse light than she intended. Sheila waits for the right time, filing it away like a razor. Ridge is concentrating on a pitch at Forrester, but his thoughts keep going back to Taylor's distance. When he texts her, he gets a brief, ambiguous response. The audience gets the impression that the silence is merely the prelude to a scandal as the show lingers on the small improvisations, such as a storm window rattling or a half-finished cup of tea. The breakdown of Taylor's deception. The major unveiling takes place during a glitzy event organized by the Spencer Foundation and Forrester Creations to turn suffering into charity. Secrets have a tendency to explode spectacularly in situations involving cameras, donors, pearls, and speeches. On stage, Taylor accepts a prize for community leadership, an ironic distinction that the authors take great pride in. She delivers a lecture about compassion and truth, using sentences intended to have two meanings. Hope and Brooke sit side by side in the audience, beaming. Ridge is silently standing in the rear. A flash drive is inserted into a journalist bag in the cloakroom by a member of Sheila's former network. Let's call him Marco, a petty fixer with a tape recorder habit, in a shadowed hallway. Sotto voce. He informs the reporter that everything pertaining to a Forster cover-up is on the disc. In between canopy bites, the reporter, eager for a scoop, plays the tape on his phone. The tape, a grainy, devastating clip, is soon in the hands of an editor and then appears on the reporter's live feed. Despite her public assertion that she is protecting the family, the video shows Taylor at the same guest house, but in a private meeting where she promises something that may be interpreted as collusion. Signatures, private documents, or a discreetly swapped envelope. The soundbite is convenient because it plays across channels and is bannered across feeds. It leaves viewers with the idea of Taylor giving something to Deacon or another figure, and then whispering, "Nobody must ever know." Hope's phone vibrates back at the fundraiser. The headline reads, "Taylor Forster, caught in covert deal," as she looks down to Hope's hand shakes. Her thoughts are quick and clear. Hope will be questioned about why she stood up for her mother if Taylor is found to have engaged in personal treachery or corporate sabotage. She ends her speech in the middle and walks with Brooke, who is already in damage control mode, to the men's room. "We stick together. Keep quiet. Let Ridge remain silent for now." However, Taylor refuses to be subdued. As the cameras swarm, she bolts off stage. When reporters yell questions, Taylor doesn't respond. Her voice is weak but defiant as she continues, "You have nothing on me." Neither the spectators nor the cameras are able to distinguish fact from fiction. Taylor is currently busted by tape that someone with a motive put into the public domain rather than by witnesses present in the room. Hope cornered. Moral math, media, and family. The reluctant lightning rod is Hope. She publicly supports Taylor by hugging her on TV this morning and ferociously reciting her name. Hope, too, harbors misgivings in private. According to the video, Taylor may have approved a hush money transfer, covertly helped divert a Forster design to a rival, or covered up a criminal misdeed to protect someone, all of which are delightfully murky things that soap opera writers adore. Like vultures, the press flees to the Spencer lawn. Hope's sunglasses reflect flashing lights as reporters swarm her automobile. The network is looking for a quote. Hope is cornered by her conscience as well as by the general public. Furious, humiliated, and desperate, Ridge demands transparency rather than showing pity and wants to examine Taylor's phone, ledger, and schedule. In the rear of the Forster boardroom, Ridge warns Hope, "You're defending a lie if you defend her now." In the room, Brooke is calculating brand harm at the level of a chessboard and urging tactical composure, saying, "We can't let tabloids run the story." As she sees Hope falter, Sheila's tiny smile grows. Taylor appears guilty if Hope stops talking. Hope appears complicit if she stands up for Taylor. It's a traditional double bind. The scenes swing between intimate, private exchanges in which Hope begs Taylor for the truth behind closed doors, and large-scale public spectacles where social media feeds become harsh and hashtagged. Hope looks for the truth. Did Taylor have anything to do with the alleged misconduct? Was there anything she signed? Taylor gives indirect responses, saying, "I was trying to protect someone. I made a decision." Hope presses, "Who am I protecting?" Ridge, Taylor pauses. Hope is aware that there are other factors at play, such as Liam's relatives, the Forster family's reputation, and the kids, but she still feels as though someone is taking advantage of them all. Liam also comes out as an unreliable ally. He is upset at being kept in the dark, but he wants to protect his mother. He snaps, "Hurt. You made decisions without telling me." Hope understands that she may be the only remaining link between Taylor and the family, and that moral duty and familial devotion are hazy. Sheila's request. What is her desire? Sheila makes her play because she enjoys playing the roles of victim and puppet master. Sheila requests a direct conversation with Hope in a setting designed to cause the greatest amount of discomfort. Sheila is more vulnerable than most people realize, and the scene is set in the visitor area of the psychiatric ward. Bright fluorescent lights, a single plastic flower on the table, and a camera that someone always says is off. Her voice is low. Weariness trims the normal venom. "Assist me," she says. It's not a requirement. The moral ledger is turned upside down by this unvarnished, even infantile plea. She is aware that, depending on how the tape is altered and whether further documents come to light, the evidence she is could either exonerate Taylor or destroy her. Sheila says she wants to use the leverage to negotiate. She will give the missing ledger, the unedited video, or the confession from the genuine offender, but only if Hope will support her in obtaining a fair trial and possibly even arguing for clemency. The simplicity of Sheila's approach, a request for pity disguised as an offer of truth, is brilliant. As time crumbles, hope remains. Sheila is dangerous and has hurt this family in the past, on the one hand. Sheila's collaboration, on the other hand, might preserve Taylor's reputation and shield workers and kids from the consequences. "You love family," Sheila says, knowing exactly how to corner Hope. "I'm able to save yours. Alternatively, you may leave them burning." This serves as the plot's moral fulcrum. Hope has two options. She either consent to act as a mediator between the family and a convicted criminal, or she can decline and run the risk of Taylor being falsely accused in public. The authors relish Hope's inside calculation. Are there deals you should never make on the path to truth? Strategic betrayals and surprising partnerships. Hope contacts several important allies, including Brooke, who sees a public relations opportunity, Steffi, who wants to destroy anything that poses a threat to her father, and Finn, who supports treatment and the truth. Finn makes the case for openness by requesting the raw video, bringing in forensics, and having audio experts verify. Steffi wants to go back to business and burn all the videos. In the meantime, Brooke icily evaluates the danger to the public and offers a mercenary scheme. Use Sheila's request as leverage to bring the true offender to light. Sheila wants more than just legal leniency, though. She wants to see Taylor in person for agency rather than reconciliation. She wants Taylor to publicly explain her decision to choose confidentiality or the reasons behind her document signing. Sheila plans to fabricate the story in order to establish victimhood, so her strategy is not always honorable. She makes a heartfelt but selfish plea. A late-night altercation ensues in the visitor room while Hope, worn out and desperate, tries to mediate the situation. She says, "Give us the entire tape. No changes. No leaks." Sheila practically smiles. "We give it to a neutral investigator." "Neutral?" She says it again. "That doesn't exist. However, I'll give you the raw." She consents, but only if Hope pledges to publicly present Sheila's case for parole review. Hope understands that any public negotiations with Sheila will be used as a weapon by the media, and it's a sickening trade-off. The moral cost, the twist, and the evidence. The uncut video is provided. The footage was manipulated, according to a forensic audio team, with lines cut to suggest a quid pro quo that wasn't really present. However, the full video does reveal another aspect. Taylor and the other individual argue about covering for a vulnerable person, such as a child or a threatened employee, rather than money or collaboration. Taylor's motivations start to change. She made a humiliating concession to save a loved one, not to make money. When the moral paint dries, it turns gray. Sadly, the unedited video also shows a new issue. Hope's own chat with Taylor, in which she instructs Taylor to do what you have to protect the family, was captured on camera and is now included in the packet. In other words, Hope uses Taylor's private advice as a weapon. The public will interpret that as cooperation, cornering Hope. Even if Taylor had good intentions, the spectacle of a mother and daughter plotting to protect a child would be devastating. The consequences are instantaneous. Social media feeds are exploding. Journalists probe Hope's judgment with pointed questions. Sponsors of Forrester events threaten to stop providing financing. Ridge interprets Taylor's readiness to do what it takes as an indication that she's engaging in a covert game, and he feels both vindicated and betrayed at the same time. Hope is accused of using a villain to shield her mother for an institutional cover-up after she pursued the truth and struck a bargain with Sheila. The cliffhanger and the emotional reckonings. The narrative becomes more focused on personal reflections. Exposed but not quite guilty, Taylor withdraws into a tiny apartment to consider his options. If you're hiding things from me, I can't run a family or a company with you. Ridge storms out of a meeting with the board, his voice raw. If you're hiding things from me. Hope, clenching his teeth, responds, we try to be moral in private, and we got burned for it. The family breaks up in painfully specific ways. Sheila now demands that Hope advocate for her parole hearing after delivering the uncut video. Pushed to the limit, Hope must choose between putting Sheila in danger and insisting on a scorched earth approach, or using her goodwill with Finn, Liam, and the board to support Sheila's position. The moral choice is harsh. Allow popular revulsion to dictate justice, or assist the monster who has wounded many in order to have a chance at the truth. A traditional soap opera cliffhanger marks the end of the storyline. Hope enters the open press conference to represent Taylor. The crowd holds its breath as the cameras flare. Hope has written a speech that aims to humanize tough decisions by stating that moral sacrifice is occasionally necessary to protect the defenseless. Ridge gets a call before she can say anything. The color fades from his face. With a voice like ice, he turns to Hope and says, "They found another tape. Your voice, with Taylor, is on it." A fresh reporter thrusts a microphone in Brooke's face as the camera pans to a close-up of the flash drive in her shaking fingers. It wasn't supposed to exist. Who recorded Hope is the last line that lingers in the air. What's next? Benefits and opportunities. The show has a rich moral playground because of its plot. Anticipate. Multiple layers of incentive. Because Taylor is frequently portrayed as someone who does bad things for good reasons, she is not a straightforward villain. This storyline emphasizes this idea and compels characters to balance intentions against results. The furnace of Hope. As a daughter, moral leader, and public personality, Hope will be put to the ultimate test. Her decisions have the power to build or destroy her connections and credibility. The wild card is Sheila. Sheila continues to want power and survival even when she appears to be speaking the truth. She might make some amends, but she will never be completely reliable. The plea is a quintessential Sheila tactic, a vulnerability-wrapped deal. Private versus public justice. The narrative explores the questions of whether public opinion should determine a family's destiny and if concealment, even when done with the best of intentions, can endure in a connected age. Boardroom repercussions. Board members and clients of Forrester will respond. A turbulent stock reaction is likely to be exploited as leverage by corporate enemies, and there will be legal hearings and donor withdrawals. A drawn-out, stressful payout. With the introduction of suspects, a corporate spy, a media plant, or a resentful employee, the show will linger on the mystery of who filmed Hope and why. Be prepared for last-minute reversals and betrayals.